we have come up with an interesting idea.
From developers to founders, everyone's got unique stories, challenges, and most importantly, questions. Welcome to Ask Raghu.
Hey all, we have come up with an interesting idea. Over the past few months, we have had some incredible conversations with the tech professionals who are navigating through the EB1A process.
From developers to founders, everyone's got unique stories, challenges, and most importantly, questions. Welcome to Ask Raghu, where we take your toughest EB1A questions and get the real answers from the expert. Today, we are doing something a little different. We have gathered up some of the most common, most pressing, and even some of the trickiest questions you've been asking. So we are going straight to the source. Mr. Raghu Suram, CEO and founder of the EB1A Experts, who's been in your shoes and helped hundreds of tech professionals who are going through this EB1A process. This episode is packed with answers, insights, and the kind of advice that will save your time, stress, and maybe even a few sleepless nights. So grab a coffee, relax, and let's get into it. This is Ask Raghu.
So Raghu, here's a question from someone who had to stop their masters in the US due to some family issues. So he asks that if I build my EB1A profile while living in India, will it affect his chances?
That's a very interesting question, Shraddha. This is a very common question that's repetitive over the last 6 to 8 months. To be honest, the short answer is no. You can be anywhere in the world. You can be on any visa in US and you can still actually pursue EB1A. The only difference is going to be like someone who's not in US probably wouldn't have a priority date. And then it means that like once you get the I-140 approved, you have to wait for the priority date to be current and then you apply for EB1A. Although it changes from country to country, like for Indians, the priority date right now or the final action date right now is February 2022. However, like for other countries, like most of them are like the priority date is like actually current.
So thanks, Raghu. That's very helpful for everyone. So the next question is, what's the current wait time for EB1A?
That's actually an extension of like what I was saying right now as well. So let's try to understand the concept of like the priority dates and the final action dates. Every month, USCIS releases a visa bulletin in which there is a final action date is marked. For right now, like for Indians, it's February 2022. So if you go through the process and get the I-140, if your priority date is before the final action date, it means you are current. You can immediately apply for the green card. And on an average, we are seeing around 6 to 8 months of wait time for you to get the green card after. However, if your priority date is not current, it means that your priority date is after the final action date. Then you have to wait for the final action date to be current and then you apply for the green card. So in that case, like you don't know. The things could change here and there.
That gives a clear picture, Raghu. So we were asked what you do in profile building. Can you give a clear picture on that?
Okay. So we understand the profile of the candidate. It means that like we'll go through their resume, try to understand like what they have been doing, what are the important projects the customer is working on, by which we identify the gaps in the profile. And we also see like how the profile is matching to each individual criteria. So once we list down all the things, now in order to bridge the gaps, we actually work on it by researching what exactly we could do. And then we'll do like a lot of content writing in the process as well. So our goal is to bridge the gaps and make sure we add more data to it so that it meets different criteria of EB1A. So that like when you apply the petition, your chance of getting approved for EB1A is really high. Let me give you an example. Let's take awards as a criterion. And let's say like our customer has been working on some great projects over the last like 10 years. Now we identify what is that project which has the most impactful so that the customer could get that award. So that's the research part. Once the research is done, we articulate the project in such a way that it meets the award. Then we do the application for the award so that you get the awards. So this is exactly what we do for different criterion as well. so that we do the profile building. To be honest, profile building is a very short form of what we do. We do a lot more things in the whole process so that you have a higher chance of getting an EB1A approval.
Thanks for the clarity on that, Raghu. Now, the next question is, we come across this quite often. How come startup founders be eligible for EB1A?
Believe it or not, this is one of the common myths we see. Everyone thinks that just being a startup founder automatically qualifies you for EB1A. The short answer for that is I would say yes or no. Let's say you start a company and you are a CEO, or it could be any role in the company, but you are working on an impactful product or a project that's being used by a lot of customers. And so that the startup or the idea or the project has a lot of revenue. So in short, the work what you've done for the startup is impactful in nature. Then you can definitely claim for a critical role. If the work is actually used across the company and across the industry, you can claim for original contribution as well. So in a way, if you have done impactful work for startup, that can be claimed for a couple of criteria in EB1A. However, imagine, if you're doing an impactful work for the companies as well, you can claim for these two criteria.
All right, Raghu. So here's a question about switching between EB categories. Okay, so someone asked, if my EB2 I-140 is already approved, will it be affected if my EB1A application gets denied?
So EB2 application and EB1 application, for that matter, other applications as well, those are all in parallel. One is not dependent on another one. Imagine what's happening here is in EB1A, there is a set of rules, a set of criteria, which are defined by USCIS. We interpret the rules, as in you interpret the rules, then attorney constructs a very detailed petition, we are completely genuine, everything end to end, and then we apply for USCIS to get the EB1A approval. So it's just understanding of the rules. If it's not the USCIS thinks that your profile is not up there to qualify for EB1A, then it does not have any impact on EB2. This is believe it or not, this is one of the very common questions we get. We actually check with attorney on this one too many times. And all the attorneys we work with actually confirm the same thing. Rejection does not have any effect on EB2 or EB3 or any other application per se.
So let's go into now some about research work. So a client have a question. He says, I have 20 plus articles, but citations are less than 10. Does that affect my chances?
Let's understand first where citations would go. So citations and let's say patents as well, they can be claimed for original contributions criteria. That's one way to claim original contributions. However, you don't need to have citations or patents, but if your work actually has been innovative and used in the company and also across the industry as well, you can definitely claim for the specific criteria. So in short, you don't technically need to have citations to claim for the criteria. But let's actually look into some numbers as well. Most of our clients, unless any of the clients have published a paper a long time ago, they don't have citations. And we have been getting really good approvals without having those things. So we believe not having citation should not have any or probably a very, very minimal impact on the whole approval rate.
Got it, Raghu. Now let's talk about personalized support. As every profile is different, how does our team help offering personalized support?
That's the most important question, Shweta, what someone should ask about the personalized service, what we offer. So our important goal is to make the profile, the whole building process as personalized as possible. So with that, what we do is we start with the field of expertise, which is personalized to the projects of the client, what the work they have been doing. From there, at every point in the way, the awards, what we choose are related to the field of expertise. The judging opportunities, what we choose are related to the field of expertise. Similarly, scholarly article publications, the content we choose are also related to their field of expertise. So as you can see here, if it's a pyramid, at the top of the pyramid, you have the field of expertise. And then all the links are actually from the field of expertise. And the field of expertise derived from the project. So everywhere the personalization will automatically come through. And imagine this personalization is really, really important in the whole process because USCIS have been looking for because EB1A is all about like how impactful you are within your field. If we can showcase that like your impact is very high in your field of expertise through meeting this criteria, then you get your EB1A approved. That's a very important step.
That really sounds good to listen how we cater to different profiles, Raghu. And next up, we have a question like, how can EB1A experts give honest feedback on a profile based on your experience?
Thanks, Vinay, for the question. So this is something which we actually added to the whole process end to end. When a client approaches us, the most important step for us is to evaluate their profile. Go through their profile, and we have a certain criteria what we look for. Experience is one of the criteria. The depth in the projects is another criteria we look at. There are several other criteria we go through in detail and make sure their eligibility is like minimum. And the reason why we actually do this is for us, we base everything on the projects done by our customers. So we take the projects and from there we build on the top of it. So having the depth in the projects is really, really important. So we evaluate the work. The work is good, and then we can actually take the profile to the next level. Then we accept them as clients.
So now, one from someone who is working in non-tech brand. So he says, do you work with candidates in tech roles who are employed at non-tech companies or brands like banks or retails?
Got it. In short, we do. So we consider a software developer who's working for a non-tech company, let's say Citibank or Target or like any other retail companies or completely non-tech companies. We consider them as still tech. The reason is like you were coding or you're doing the tech work in these non-tech companies as well. For example, we have like several approvals. One of our clients actually work for Citibank. Many of our clients are from Chase Bank. A few of my friends actually are at CVS, Target, Walmart as well. So if you're in a tech role in a non-tech company as well, we at EB1A Experts are here to help you out.
Here's one we get often about online visibility. So do social media following, help the EB1A process?
Interesting question. I would definitely say yes or no. The reason is, let's say like you have continuously been posting on social media, let's say LinkedIn, Instagram, and every place. If your content is like providing thought leadership across the industry, definitely you would get a lot of opportunities outside as well. You get an opportunity probably to be featured like in some media location. You could get an opportunity to write content or write scholarly article with someone else who's like probably very prominent in the industry as well. In that way, it will definitely help like to build a profile overall to make your name really strong in the whole industry. Let's say you are on social media, it could be LinkedIn or Instagram, and you have like certain number of followers. The way to show that impact will become really, really difficult. I personally have seen a couple of cases where attorneys said like not to use those numbers because it now, right, like the USCIS officer could push a little bit more on it. In that case, like we don't have a specific answer to it.
Thanks, Raghu. So now let's shift to processing timelines. So how long does it take from start to end to build a complete EB1A profile until it's approved?
So we do offer a couple of like plans. One is an elite plan and the other one is an accelerator plan. Elite plan, the whole profile building process will take 6 months. Accelerator, the whole profile building plan will take 4 months. We also do an extension, an assurance type of plans for Elite and Accelerator. We name them Assure Pro Elite and Assure Pro Accelerator. And Assure Pro Elite will also take 6 months for the profile building. Assure Pro Accelerator will also take like 4 months as like an accelerator plan. But we give a refund of like 70% if your petition doesn't go through.
Okay, Raghu, now let's get into internal review process. Like one of the client asked, like, do you personally review the final merits or it is done by the team?
So let's talk about final merits first. So final merits usually goes for a couple of pages at the end of petition, where usually the USCIS officer, it's more looked as a subjective thing. So there's a lot of different things which goes into the final merits about the profile and about a lot of details. So we at EB1A Experts we have a template, and that template is improved like every day. We go a little bit in detail. So in short, like it requires a lot of thought process and a lot of time. So our team actually spends quite a bit of time to put together the final merits a little bit in detail. That helps the attorneys to take some of the content and add it to the petition. And I personally have been reviewing the petition. So I'm not only reviewing the final merits, but I'm also reviewing like every single detail which is put it on the petition, and to make sure like what, so we provide the feedback to the clients, and then we add like more detail to the attorneys as well. That's something which we at EB1A Experts, we are actually taking care, so that it's not only the work we are doing has a high quality, but the work, the way it's conveyed to USCIS has to be high quality as well.
Okay, Raghu. So now let's talk about RFEs or rejections. So can you share some of the stats where EB1A got rejected or RFEs happened?
This is some data which I really love to talk about. Till now, we received 100 approvals. So as of today, to be honest, like what is our number of approvals are growing like every day. So 100 approvals, and we got 8 rejections. So our approval rate is like well above 90%. And now as we track it, like we're seeing about 30% of the cases are going to RFEs. This is not just EB1A Experts data, but like we have been actually tracking this data across the industry. There's sudden spike of number of RFE cases like across like many different attorneys. But the most important thing to remember here is RFE is not the end of the tunnel. So what we do is like we go through each RFE case and try to analyze like what exactly the questions they're asking, and then make sure to work with the attorney to have a very strong response to it. And we have an amazing approval rate or amazing conversion rate from RFE to approvals as well. And the other common question and extension of this one is, what about the rejections? Is rejection an end of a tunnel? Definitely not. Last Thursday, so like a few days before, since we're recording this thing, we got an approval for someone whose petition was initially rejected in December. So it is what it is. EB1A is not 100%, but however, our goal is to make sure to work on the profile in such a way to become it strong so that you have a higher chance of approval.
Thanks, Raghu, on that. Now, I have a very interesting question. So can you give an example of use case, how you exactly use Turing AI?
Thanks, Yamini, for the question. So before actually I give an example, let's actually go what exactly Turing AI is. EB1A, if we divide it into very small chunks of tasks, we would probably get like 100, 200 small tasks. So what we do is like we use AI at every task and try to answer it. There are a lot of different buckets of these tasks are. One of the most important buckets, or 4 of the most important buckets, are research is the one important thing. Content writing is the second most important one regarding the Turing AI. The third most is like analyzing the profiles, how it's actually building. The fourth important step is how is the acceptance rate, how is the approval rate for this specific profile. Let me give an example of like the research one. So let's try to understand awards criterion. So awards is a pretty complicated criterion as such. So the most important step in the awards criterion is to identify the specific award which matches to the field of the specific customer and also the projects of the specific customer. It's a pretty tedious task to find out, as there are like many places, many awards and many categories we need to find it from. So what we do is like we use Turing AI, we input like all the projects of the client, and also we'll understand the field of expertise which we input into the system as well. And we input like all the different awards. And the Turing AI, what it does is like it simply goes in and try to find what are the best awards out there, which matches the projects, which matches the field of expertise. So this way we have done 2 important things. One is like optimize the whole process to decrease the time. The second most important thing is like the Turing AI platform as such actually increase the quality of the awards, or like the closeness of the awards to the specific projects. So this is how like we have been implementing Turing AI across like the whole EB1A process.
All right, Raghu. This one comes from just someone who's starting the process. What would be your advice for an individual contributor who's just starting the EB1A journey?
So one advice what I would give, it could be an individual contributor or a manager. The most important step is try to understand your profile. Try to understand your projects more in detail and articulate the impact of these things. So once you articulate everything, now see like what are all the criteria you meet and what exactly you need to work on. We at EB1A Experts, we always suggest to go 6 or higher criteria so that your profile looks stronger. If you want to know more details about it, please set up a call. Our business development managers will help you with the whole process.
That was really nice, Raghu. So will an EB1A denial impact on future immigration options?
This is a question which we spoke to attorneys one too many times. EB1A rejection does not affect like any future immigration options, H1B renewals or anything. So in theory, attorneys mentioned that we have one client. He got his EB1A rejected, I think in 2017. 2017, he got his EB1A rejected. He has a good profile, just bad luck. He came to us. I spoke to him personally and he has renewed his H1B like one too many times. He has traveled to India every year. So we haven't seen any issue with him and it's been like 8 years or 9 years since his EB1A got rejected. Now he's working on rebuilding his profile through EB1A Experts, but however, we haven't seen any issue in his profile. And so anyone like who wants to start on EB1A, you should not be concerned about like these rejections. You should actually start working towards your EB1A today.
So thanks, Raghu. So Raghu, now something that often creates confusion. So do we have any travel restrictions while we are working on our EB1A profiles?
So as you know, like in EB1A, there are two parts of the process. One is I-140 and the second one is like I-485. So during I-140 process, usually there are no travel restrictions. You're building a profile, you can travel outside the country. Even while applying, or while if there is an RFE, you're responding to an RFE, there's no travel restrictions. You can be anywhere. To be honest, I've seen like many of our clients actually do the same. So there's no issues. But when you're applying for 485, the green card process, there are usually like 3 important like forms or 3 important applications like most people do. Now let's understand like the importance of these 3 forms. So as I explained right now, 485 is green card. And then AP is advanced parole, which you can imagine is like a travel document. And EAD is like stands for employment authorization document and it's a work permit. And imagine if you are an H1B already. H1B is a work visa and using H1B you can travel as well. So the purpose of EAD and AP is already met by H1B. However, as you know, H1B is dependent on a company. So, but EAD is not. If you have an EAD, you can be completely independent. So the important step is like when you're traveling, if you want to travel, if you do not have an H1B, then your AP gets rejected. That's the only thing. So you can travel outside and which does not have any effect on your green card application. So if your AP gets rejected, you can travel outside and then you come back and apply for another AP as well. So that's totally okay. So in short, as you can see, like there's not much restrictions as like thought by other people. However, like what I said, when you're getting I-140 approved, if you want to travel, we always suggest to talk to the attorney because these rules will change like every other day or every month. So that's one advice we do. Just to summarize, during the I-140 process, it's all okay. You can travel. During the 485 process, your AP gets rejected if you travel without it getting approved. So our suggestion during the 485 process is always talk to your attorney and see if there is any new rules that come up which have travel restrictions when you apply for 485 and then make an informed decision.
Great, Raghu. So the next one is about the company background. Have you received any EB1A approvals from tier 2 companies and not just FANG?
Let's understand a little bit more into the data. So we have FANG companies and we have other like prominent companies as well. It could be Salesforce, Broadcom. They're not categorized as FANG, but however, like they're very strong brand names out there. We typically analyze our data and we see around like 50% of our approvals are from like the well-known companies. However, we do have other 50% of approvals from like different companies. They could be from startups, they could be from consultancies, They could be from like mid-sized companies which are about to go IPO, or they could be like family-owned businesses as well. So as long as your work is good, it's actually you can convey the impact of the work, then you can try for EB1A, even though you're working for FANG or you're not working for FANG as well.
Thank you, Raghu. To wrap it up, here is a common experience related question which we often hear. One of the client is asking, what is the minimum number of years of IT experience needed to go with the EB1A?
Just to be clear, there is no minimum number of years of experience. It could be having no work experience and still like apply for EB1A. It could be any location on any visa and you can apply for EB1A. And that's the beauty of like EB1A. As long as you have great impact, you can meet the criteria and then you can apply for EB1A. So what we do is at EB1A Experts, we take the work experience of the client and then build on the top of it. So for us, the work experience is a really, really important thing. And so as the projects, we have analyzed a lot of different profiles and then have fixed to a number like 7 years as a like you could say like an imaginary number for us to actually work on the profile. However, if you're someone who have worked on most impactful projects and then also have like less than 7 years of experience, you can still reach out to us.
And that's a wrap on this episode of Ask Raghu. We hope today's conversation gave you some clarity and helped answer a few of those burning questions about the EB1A process. Whether you're just starting or in the middle of the journey, we've got your back. Check out our website for more info. Book a call today with our experts. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get social and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you next time.